what are the right things to say or to do to get somebody on my email list or to get somebody to become a client from social media? The answer is, I don't know what the answer is. But in this conversation with Joe, what you're gonna witness is walking through a process with him to test different appeals, to test different messages very, very quickly, and to see what his audience responds to. This is a conversation with my hot seat. I think it'll be really helpful for you to understand that there's no right way necessarily to do something, but there might be a way that works better for you, and you don't know the answer, and it's not worth guessing, but it's very easy to actually collect a little bit of data and to figure out what that is. Hope that you enjoy this. I'll be back afterwards to recommend another episode to listen to. Joe, where are you at? There you are. All right. So, Joe, you're
Hey,
up,
John.
man. Thanks for your patience. Same type
Yeah,
of thing, real quick. Who you are, who you serve, what are we talking about here?
yeah. My name is Joe. I'm a physical therapist, and I pretty much serve people who have been in pain and struggle to get back into to working out. That's pretty much in a nutshell who I work with now. I'm completely remote. I've been doing so now for the last 8 months since the birth of our daughter. That's it.
What's her name?
Olivia.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it the best yet, or is it still not?
No, the first 2 months were rough, but it's been the best since.
Took me about 2 years to
Yeah.
connect with my son for the first time, and then I was like, okay, now I get it. Wish somebody told me it was going to take me 2 years, but now I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? I mean, I have your document that we filled out, but
Yeah.
let's hear it in your own words.
Um, I guess it's more or less around the fact that I guess everything that I have now from a virtual standpoint almost feels a little bit like an accident. Instagram just happened to grow for me for whatever reason. Can't explain it. I guess just consistency kind of trumped there.
Mhm.
And slowly have been kind of working my way through the business side of things, but it still never really feels like a business. Everything is, like I just had 2 weeks off and for travel, and had significant impact on income and all that stuff. So it's more, I guess, more or less. So, how does this start to feel more like a business versus just, I don't know, it almost feels like patchwork, right? Trying to make sure everything stays afloat and building it up and things like that.
Okay. So your Instagram, I'll bring it up here so everybody else can see it. You guys can see my other screen here. So Instagram has a lot of followers, but it's not super engaged, right? Like
It's so
it's
weird. It was like 3 months ago. I probably had like two posts that like had over 2 million eyes on it, and then
right.
all of a sudden, can't explain it. There's been a decrease, and before that last period of time where I had a stretch of really great engagement for like a 2 month period. Before that was the same, and there's really been no change in the type of content, at least from my perspective.
What were the posts that really hit? That
Oh,
you
they're a
got?
while back. I would have to go search for them. But one of the two, the hamstring health one at the top, for whatever reason, that one I think has like reached like 70,000 people and has a pretty good amount of engagement through it.
Oh,
Um,
this guy.
that's probably been like the most recent one that's done something.
Okay. Okay. Have you done any straight asks on your page for
I
clients
have,
and
yeah. I've
stuff? I'm
recently
wondering
done,
how that goes.
yeah, I did one of those like 531 type posts
Right.
before I left, and I did it through Instagram and through my newsletter, and I ended up having like, I don't know, 5+ calls through
Okay.
Instagram, from which is actually pretty rare for me. So I would actually say, even though engagement has been low, doing more of the DMs and stuff like that has actually allowed me to have consistent lead flow, which has been rare for me. It's usually they come in like little pockets.
So you send a newsletter as well?
I do, yeah.
How many people's on there? How often do you send it out?
I haven't been overly consistent. I was for a little while. I'm about somewhere in the ballpark of 1,800 people, are like
Okay.
not unsubscribed or whatnot. So we'll call it 1,800. Um, and I was trying for weekly, but just with time and stuff like that, it just kind of fallen off.
So how often are you sending it? Sorry.
Right now, I haven't done anything in probably like a month or a month and a half.
So I think the newsletter is going to be your bread and butter.
Hmm.
And I think your goal with social media is to get people the heck off social media as fast as
Yeah,
possible, and use that to book calls. Because
yeah,
you can't be, I mean, you got an 8-month-old. You can't be sitting there DMing people all day. It's just, if there's somebody who's a super hot lead, or if you have like a very distinct period of time where you're like, okay, for these 2 days, I'm going to do a launch, I'm going to do a spear post, I'm going to, right, that's fine. But to think that that's going to be your ongoing lead flow, um, it's just not sustainable. I mean, I don't have an 8-month-old, but I got a 1 year and a 6-year-old. It's just not happening. Um, it's also just not what I want to be doing
sure.
on any given day. And so I think we can do better. You said that the hamstring ones hit hard. Are there any other topics that you
It
have
seems
found
like,
that when you post about them, there seems to be like an outsized response
yeah, I had a couple of ones on actually the few times I posted on wrist, those ones seem to gain traction.
on wrists?
Yeah, for I don't know why wrist specifically, but
Okay. How long would it take for you to put together, and literally you have 566 videos on your YouTube channel?
mhm.
How long would it take you to put together, uh here's your here's my 3 top stretches for wrists, here's my 3 top stretches for hamstrings, and like have a video for it? I mean, you just grab videos that are already on YouTube, you just
Yeah,
embed those.
yeah, no, I don't think that would take me very long at all.
And so what are some of your type markets, like golfers who?
Yeah, golfers. There's a large that's just kind of regular gen pop. Of baseball is another one that filters through, and then I actually get a lot of people within the industry, like trainers and other physical therapists that come through.
Who do you think makes your best clients? You don't have to
People
know the
within the
answer, but guess.
industry, yeah. I mean, people within the industry always do because there's part of it that becomes educational and kind of fun within there. Anyone who does kind of like powerlifting, I've worked with them a lot in the past, and golf. Those are probably the big three
Okay.
that are probably the most fun to work with.
So yeah, I mean, your YouTube is fitness for the fairways, right? Par four
Yeah,
performance.
yeah.
So obviously golf. So I would say test golf and powerlifting. Now the nice
Hmm.
thing about this is basically make the same ebook.
Hmm.
It's wrist health, and it's activation, warm ups, and stuff like that for the hamstrings, isn't it? Put together very, very quick PDFs. Doesn't have to do much. Big mistake people make is they try to do too much with it.
Hmm.
You already have an email list. What system are you using for your email?
I use Kartra.
Okay. Does that allow you to create landing pages and squeeze pages really quick?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's kind of like ClickFunnels would be.
Okay. So you've got one squeeze page format, and you're just going to clone it and make it different for each ebook, right? You're going to do one for golfers, you're going to do one for powerlifters. And the reason that I say do this really quick is that I think it's really important. Like, you don't know what is going to hit the hardest, what's going to be the most interesting. Neither do I.
Hmm.
So I think the best way to actually operate this is just to like do a test, do an experiment. I'm actually doing it right now. If you go to my Instagram, uh, look at my story. I'm
Hmm.
promoting a PDF download right now. It's 2 slides. You can copy my format. I print it out so it looks like a real thing. I highlight it, and then I flip through the pages in the video. and you can see that it's highlighted. And I'll say, if you want this, DM me whatever word. People DM it. And then I have Alina who responds back with the link of the book, with the link to the page to download the book, which is the page to enter your email. Now, in our case, we have people who follow up with them via the DMs. But in your case, I don't think you need to. I think you respond really quick with a one-shot, hey, awesome, this thing's wicked. Here's where you go download it, just enter your email. And then the first message that you send back to them, and this is the key, the first message that you send back to them via an email, so it's an automated email, you say, Joe, hope that you love this, man. It's going to really help you, perform better on the powerlifting, perform better with your powerlifting. Here's the link to download it. Click link. And then next line, I'm curious, what are you hoping to achieve with this? Question mark. Dash Joe. You're going to get 30-40% of people that are going to respond to you to that first email. And then it's an email conversation. That's the exact same as a DM conversation.
Sure.
That goes to a call booking. Right? You should be able to book a call anywhere from 5 to 10% of the people who download your ebook, easy, if not more than that. Because they've already opted in to get that from you. And so it's a really nice first step. And then the second part of all of this is you got to be consistent with your emails. And the hardest part for me, and where I was not consistent with emails, was when I tried to write this like magical, unique email every week or every month. It takes me, I write an email every Friday. I call it 5 Reps Friday. It takes me 20 to 30 minutes to write that email. And the reason is I know exactly what format. I know exactly what goes into each block. And all throughout the week, it's really, really easy for me to I just use notes on my phone. I'll just plug stuff in that I come across or ideas that I have to come across. Or when it comes time to write it, it's really easy for me to say, okay, here's the quick stretch video of the week or whatever it is. And you just go through your YouTube. Right? And you're like, here's want a new squat variation. It's going to fire up your posterior chain that nobody does enough. The Socher squat. Here's why it's great. Socher squats are good. I had a client with a deformed hand. He couldn't grip stuff. The Socher squats were amazing for him. I think that's your entire system. And then it's just a matter of rinsing and repeating it. It's all got to lead back to your email, though. You can't put too much pressure on
that
social
makes sense.
media.
It's been something I've been trying to continually grow, but it seems like it's always moved at a snail's pace. I've kind of been stuck at these same numbers for a while. And I feel almost like every however many people come in, usually especially if I'm doing consistent emails, the same number of people unsubscribe. So it's always kind of this like same number that sits there.
Yeah, but you're not doing any real calls to action to it. Right? You're not doing any real calls to action. I mean, people love that stuff. And then based off of the feedback you get, you might find that powerlifters are responding a lot. Well, then how hard is it to put together a new PDF for powerlifters?
Sure.
On another stretch, right? Or whatever. And then as you're creating your content now, your content can promote these resources. So every piece that you have now lives on in your feed.
Right.
And it just starts to become a machine. I mean, imagine if all of this stuff that you have here at the end of it or in it somewhere basically says, hey, if you're a powerlifter, get my ebook with the 3 top stretches for your hamstrings or activation movements for your hamstrings for powerlifting. And then you have something that pops off and goes viral 3 weeks down the road. People are flipping around their page. They see this hamstring health, they go there. Like, it's just, it to me, the key to this whole internet content thing is it's not one thing that you do. It's just how can you make sure that every move that you make, every action you take has as much leverage built into it as possible, ways that it can work for you at some point in the future. I don't ever want to create content that is just one and done in like 2 hours. I want it to sit there. Like, my post today is about learnings from 3 months at CrossFit. And before I put this post up, I recorded a podcast episode on it. Then we built this post that promotes the podcast episode. And now people are on the podcast and listening to this episode and hopefully subscribing to the podcast. Almost everything that I do is with that idea of leverage in mind.
Sure.
So that when people find this thing, who knows, whenever, it's just like all these little machines that are working for you because of stuff you've done in the past. Versus how most people do social media, which is like one and done. It's gone. Maybe I'll post it again at some point in the future. But and then you just know that everybody is going back to your email list. And you have that one simple email that says, what are you hoping to achieve with this? That's basically all you need. And it's the same email, whether they're a golfer or whether they're a powerlifter, right? The conversation's just going to be different afterwards. But what I think that you will probably find is you will find that you'll find that it will be, and I don't know what the answer is, but you'll find it'll probably be pretty clear which topic of yours like hits harder and is more appealing. And I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to that. I've just found like people look at me for certain things, even though I think I'm good at other things. People look at me for certain things and don't look at me for other things. And the only way to figure that out is to put a bunch of stuff out there and be like, all right, let's see what we get picked back.
Okay. No, that's actually very helpful.
Cool.
I think it helps. Like, I'm someone where my mind goes everywhere, so it's always good every now and again to help it get refocused back down.
If you know where everything needs to go, and you have that one conversion system, you can start compounding. And basically, I mean, this is the entire idea of a funnel, right? A funnel all goes tight to one place eventually. And so think of it as arms to the octopus. It's all going to the same base. But over time, what you're doing is you're putting a bunch of feelers out there in different ways. And I don't think you need to do a lot of different things. But if you don't know which market or audience or appeal is really going to be the best one for you, then the best course of action is just to test it. Like, just see. Like, nobody, like, a bunch of people can guess, but nobody really knows. Hey, John, again, thank you so much for listening to that conversation. Hope that it gave you some clarity on how to figure out how to ask somebody to join your email list to become a client through social media. You know, that conversation was a hot seat for my mentorship. If you're looking to scale your business, please send me a DM on Instagram that just says mentor. We'll have a conversation, see if it's right for you. And if it's not, see if we can help you in some other way. In the meantime, if you're looking for another episode to listen to, I'm going to recommend episode 31. This is called The Anatomy of Losing a Sale. And the idea behind this is figuring out what happened in a sales process or a marketing process. Again, collecting data, not guessing. And so what you're going to learn in this episode 31, is a process for dissecting something that happened and actually collecting useful data out of it. That's episode 31, The Anatomy of Losing a Sale. Recommend you check that out right now if you're looking for something to listen to. Hope that you have a good day. Hope to talk again soon.